Welcome back to the X-Centric Collector channel. I'm Talent the X-Centric Collector, and today we're going to be covering Mr. Sinister from the Wendigo BAF wave. Let's get into it.
Cerebro Online.
Pull up file Mr. Sinister, Wendigo BAF wave 2019.
Accessing file. Mr. Sinister, Wendigo Build-A-Figure Wave 2019. Retail price, $19.99. Aftermarket price, high, $52. Low, $22.50. Accessories, Wendigo BAF right arm.
This Mr. Sinister is the first Hasbro Sinister they made. He was a much welcomed upgrade from the Toy Biz Mr. Sinister, which, if I'm being honest, still holds up. However, this new one is definitely superior. He retailed at $19.99. Ah, the good old days. The aftermarket price on this varies wildly. It ranges anywhere from $22.50 on the low side to $52 on the high side. He came with the Wendigo Build-A-Figure right arm, and that's all for accessories. Let's take a closer look at Sinister out of the box. Okay, let's start with the cape. Mr. Sinister loves his cape, and this is a cape he could be proud of. Unlike the old Toy Biz one that just flopped down, this cape has a wonderful billowing effect, where it puffs up towards the top and flares out just the right amount. The over-exaggerated collar that rises above his head is incredibly regal and intimidating. The head sculpt is spot on, with the trademark diamond on his forehead and piercing red eyes. His eyebrows are arched, his black lips with a devious grin showing his teeth. The vampire-esque haircut and goatee, yeah, this is the epitome of Sinister. His shoulder pads are also large and intimidating and sculpted onto his shoulders, giving the appearance of being part of his cape. His torso has the red diamond as well, as any proper Sinister should. And let's not forget his gloves and thigh-high boots. Sinister has always been an extremely dramatic character, and his outfit really reflects it. The articulation on this figure is traditional Marvel Legends articulation. It's very well done, double-jointed elbows and knees, wrist and ankle rockers and ankle pivot. The arms get a surprising amount of movement, even with the shoulder pads and cape, being that they're made of a very rubbery plastic. His torso, arms, and legs, going down to his boots, are painted with a shiny, almost metallic blue. Aesthetically speaking, this is a beautiful figure to look at. It's only a matter of time before we get another Mr. Sinister figure, but if you're in the market for one, you can't go wrong with this one. Just a classic look for a classic villain. Let's dig into the history of Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister, first appearance, The Uncanny X-Men number 231, 1987, created by Chris Claremont, writer, Mark Silvestri, artist.
His first appearance was in Uncanny X-Men number 221 in 1987. This was before my time collecting comics, but by the time I started reading comics, I was very familiar with Mr. Sinister because of the original animated series in the 90s. Sinister was created by the legends Chris Claremont and Mark Silvestri. Besides Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Claremont and Silvestri are two of the GOATs. In the comics, Mr. Sinister started life as Nathaniel Essex in the mid-1800s in Victoria, London. He attended Oxford University, where he became a biologist. He was a contemporary of Charles Darwin and was highly interested in research regarding evolution and survival of the fittest. He eventually married and had a son who died at age 4 due to genetic birth defects. He became obsessed with his research in perfecting and improving the human race. He later hired a criminal gang known as the Marauders to kidnap homeless people to use as test subjects. In his research, he ended up discovering that some humans are born with a genetic mutation that make them superhuman. He discovered that one called En Saba Nur may be the oldest mutant in the world. He sent the Marauders to awaken Apocalypse. Apocalypse then offered Essex an alliance, believing they had similar goals. He eventually became enslaved by Apocalypse and was forced to do his bidding. One of Sinister's earliest test subjects was a man named Daniel Summers, whose DNA intrigued Sinister. He would become obsessed with the Summers lineage, hence his fascination with Scott Summers, aka Cyclops. Sinister believed that the Summers DNA may be the key to helping him escape the grasp of Apocalypse. Apocalypse used his celestial technology to genetically transform Nathaniel Essex into Mr. Sinister, granting him mutant-like abilities. Over the years, he continued to experiment on himself, and after extracting DNA samples from various mutants, he gave himself multiple powers and abilities. There's a whole lot more history to Mr. Sinister, but we'll save that for another episode. For now, let's get into those powers and abilities.
Powers and abilities, superhuman strength, durability, reflexes, stamina and speed, telepathy, telepathic code, mind link, telepathic illusions, blasts, telepathic detection, telepathic shield, telepathic mind control, telekinesis, concussive blasts, force field, telekinetic flight. Shape-shifting, longevity, precognition, expert genetic manipulator and surgeon.
Sinister's powers and abilities are vast and wide-ranging. As I said earlier, he was given a few powers by Apocalypse, but in the hundreds of years he's been alive, he's been stealing mutant powers from various heroes and villains alike, or any mutant unlucky enough to cross his path. He has superhuman strength, allowing him to lift within a range of 2 to 10 tons, superhuman durability. His muscles and tissue are far more durable than ordinary humans, allowing him to resist gunshots, shocks, energy blasts, all sorts of physical damage. This is also enhanced by the fact that he has a regeneration ability called endopathy, where he can control every molecule in his body like his former master Apocalypse, but to a lesser manner. He has superhuman reflexes, stamina, and speed. He also has telepathy, which allows him a telepathic cloak, mind link, telepathic illusions, blasts, detection, telepathic shield, mind control, and telekinesis, which allows him to move objects with his mind. It also allows him to fly, similar to Jean Grey. He can also shapeshift, which is due to his control over his cellular structure. He was granted longevity bordering on immortality by Apocalypse. He has also exhibited precognition, which means he can instinctually foresee outcomes. On multiple occasions, he has been seen teleporting. However, that may be a function of his headquarters. He is also an expert geneticist and surgeon. There are a number of other powers Sinister possesses, but if we went over all of them, we'd be here all day. I'm sure when another figure of him comes out, we can address some of those. Let's take a look and see how he measures up on the grid. Cerebro, please pull up the power grid.
Accessing power grid. Analyzing subject.
If you want to check out these grids for yourself, they have some available at marvel.fandom.com or on the backs of various Marvel trading cards. First up is strength. He's at a 4. World record bench press level. Sinister is so strong, in one of the comics, he grabbed Sabretooth by the throat with one hand and was able to subdue him. And if you know anything about Sabretooth, that is an impressive feat. Next up is intelligence. He's at a 5, genius level, and that makes a lot of sense, being he is highly educated and a world-renowned surgeon and geneticist. It's the sole reason Apocalypse granted him immortality, so that he could have a genius geneticist at his beck and call. Next we have speed. He's at a 3, superhuman speed, able to achieve speeds over 100 miles an hour. I wonder if he uses that speed in the lab to get work done faster. Next up is fighting ability. He's at a 4, world heavyweight champ. Being alive for hundreds of years, he's found himself in very dicey situations, and working for the likes of Apocalypse, he's become a very formidable combatant. Next we have durability. He's topping the charts at 7, indestructible. As stated earlier, he has complete control over every molecule in his body. So no matter what you hit him with, he's able to repair and regenerate every single inch of his body. You may be able to stop him for the moment, but there's a 99% chance he will come back. He does, however, have one weakness. A blast from Cyclops' optic beams seem to do massive damage to his genetic structure, making it harder for him to regenerate. But psych aside, he's virtually invulnerable. On to agility. He's at a 4, peak human. We got to see an amazing display of Sinister's agility in X-Men 97 when he went head to head with Jean Grey, where he was flipping around and sliding through the shadows like a snake. He's gotta be one of the most agile scientists on the planet. Final category, energy blast. His energy projection is at a 4. Getting hit by one of his blasts is like getting hit by a missile. Not many folks can take a hit from Mr. Sinister without having near fatal injuries. Looking at his overall stats, he is well above average in most categories. His lowest being a 3 with speed, which is nothing to be ashamed of, and his highest being a 7 with durability, making him invulnerable. With a genius IQ and upper tier strength, agility, and energy projection, Sinister is one of the X-Men's fiercest foes. And while he's rarely the final boss, he's often the right-hand man or number 2 to the big bad. But don't tell him I said that. He always has some scheme to try and undercut his would-be master. In X-Men 97, we get a great example of this when he tells Val Cooper that he's only working with Bastion so he can gain access to, as he put it, pig pens brimming with mutant test subjects. Although he's not the most dangerous villain the X-Men have faced, he's definitely no slouch. And he is certainly one of the coolest looking villains in the X-Men comics and animated series. Speaking of the animated series, Cerebro, let him know.
Be sure to check out X-Men 97 Reactions with Talent. Don't forget to subscribe.
I highly recommend checking out X-Men 97, and you can watch it with me in my reaction videos. All of season 1 is up and available to watch. And if you could do me a favor, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Every click goes a long way in helping the channel to grow. That's all for today. I'm Talent, the X-Centric Collector, reminding you, keep collecting. And until next time, Excelsior!